All right, everybody, welcome back to Success on the Spectrum. Lyndsay, Chey, and Brittany, we are switching things up a little bit as the ADHDers tend to do. You know me, I've been looking at the data and watching what tracks with you guys and what doesn't. So we're going to shorten some stuff, add some highlights, and give you a little bit of what I like to call edutainment. Shall we?
My
Okay.
new favorite
So,
word lately.
edutainment, yes. I think we
That
all.
should have been a word back in the day when Bill Nye was big, because that's what that was.
Yeah, facts.
The original
I'm
edutainer.
Yeah. I'm really considering putting out a string of content of me in my flowered overalls in my garden. That's like the Miss Frizz of the backyard,
You, I love that.
agricultural biomechanics, you know. Um, all right, so we are now starting our episodes with a hot take. And mine is based on some stuff that I see trending very heavily in TikTok over the last few days. Just so everybody out there knows, this is being filmed on the 11th. So we are day past the full moon and 3 or 4 days into the entirety of witch talk, going crazy about the world's energy and messages from the universe and all of that. So my hot take is you are not a witch, but you might be autistic. And here is why. A lot of us, myself included, have a rap sheet that looks very much like I should have been strung up in the 1400s. You know, it's hard for me to deny a lot of the green witch accusations or kitchen witch accusations, and that's okay. But really, I have a theory on why it is so many of us that are neurodivergent and feel like we might be a little witchy, why we feel the things that we do in the way that we do. So, autistic specifically, one of the biological markers is the lack of synaptic pruning, meaning that we have about 40% more synapses in our neural network than the neurotypical. And that gives us the ability to intake 40% more information from any given situation, right? And that generally for most people is the five senses, you know, sight, hearing, touch, sound, taste, those things. I believe for the neurodivergent, because we are so sensitive, we also, many of us, are able to pick up on energy. And so the Schumann resonance, for those of you that know about it, heck yeah. Those of you that don't yet, go take a look. It's basically it's a specific wave that maneuvers through the Earth's inner atmosphere. Well, it has been going off the charts lately. And there's a lot of different like things that are said across the TikTok verse and whatnot. But I believe that a lot of the witchy ones out there are able to feel that. And so that's why I think a lot of them right now feel like the universe is speaking to them, or like some people believe we've skipped timelines, or, you know, there's been another influx of our verse and we're merging again, or whichever line of that you fall on. I believe that the reason that so many of us can feel it before we actually see the like graph of the Schumann resonance is strictly because of our lack of synaptic pruning. So, hot take on that one. You guys share your thoughts.
So
I read a little bit into it, and it was really interesting that it's essentially like the heartbeat of the globe, that it's 7 point, what is it, 18 or 7.8 something hertz typically,
8-3, I believe.
7.83
Yeah.
hertz,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's essentially like the measurement of Earth's electromagnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
That was really interesting. It actually brought me back to, I have absolutely no idea whether or not this is related at all. I've done zero research. I just thought about it right now. But when I was in Egypt, I went with the geologist, Dr. Robert Schoch, and he has a little bit different take on like the cataclysmic events that ended the last ice age. And so he's not really in the comet impact theory camp. He is in the camp of a solar induced dark age, which essentially is like the sun has like huge they're like solar flares essentially, but they're like massive solar flares, and they greatly impact the electromagnetic field of the earth, and such so that if it's like a big enough flare or outburst, oh sorry, coronal mass ejection, that's what it's called, a coronal mass ejection. And that if it's big enough, it will absolutely interfere with like any electronic, like it could shut down the grid, increase electromagnetic activity, all that kind of stuff. So I haven't looked into it at all. I'm sure there's probably some data on like NASA and stuff because you can kind of track like, sun activity, solar activity, that sort of thing. I wonder if there is any correlation with like solar activity currently. Um,
I'll have to go look.
yeah, I
How
just
about
wonder.
that? We wonder. I love that. Chey, what'd you think, babe?
Um, I need to look more into like specifically what you were talking about to like fully understand it, but I definitely it's just interesting because it feels like clockwork. Every time there's something going on in the cosmos, I will notice it, and then all of the sudden my friends will start talking to me about it, then we'll get on a prep call and we're talking about it, and I'm like, okay, so everyone's feeling this right now, and I always think that's really interesting. One of my favorite things that I've ever seen about this is a just a meme that was like, the human body is made up of 80% water, and this moon literally moves the tides. Why would we think it wouldn't affect us at all? And I'm like,
Oh, 100%. I
that's so
can't
true.
sleep for days when there's a full moon. I haven't slept in like 3 days. 2 days
Dang,
before the actual full moon, it'll be full insomnia. Like three days on either side of the full moon, there's no sleep for me.
This is
interesting.
a fairly significant one for me, and I couldn't even, like, if you've seen my stories, I was literally up all night filming it. Like, from my bed, I could
I
not
saw
go to
that.
sleep. Also, Samsung S, that was a 3-year-old Samsung camera, by the way.
That was a
Can we
sick
just for
picture.
Samsung for a
Was that the
second?
model that like fills it in with AI, or was that before then?
No, that's before. So this is the
Yeah,
S23.
that's sick.
Yeah.
This is 2 models ago. Yeah, pretty
It
cool.
was big,
All right.
yellow. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm like, this thing is like winking at me right now.
I forgot to put my crystals out to charge.
Mine are on the windowsill.
Oh yeah. All right. Next thing that we want to talk about every week, ADHD hack of the week. So I'm gonna share mine because this is it's an ongoing battle with a mountain in my house. So I do laundry buckets. And so laundry consists of 5 steps, right? You have to gather and sort it, you wash it, you dry it, you fold it, you put it away. It's 5 steps. At best, at best, with the 17 loads I do a week, you're getting 3 steps out of me as a mom. Like at best, and I have a brand new Samsung washer and dryer, so you're not touching those. So everybody in the house has buckets, right? And it's not their hampers, it's actually like they are hampers, but there's a hamper for their dirty clothes and there's a bucket for their laundry, and it's 2 very separate things because I don't want to put dirty clothes back in. Anyways, I got sweaty ass little boys. Okay, it's gross. So with that, um, I have buckets, and so it is their job to gather their laundry and get it to the laundry room. I pick up the responsibility of washing, drying, folding. It is their job to then take that back to their room and disperse it as it is supposed to be. However, I do a lot in those 3 steps. And so there are moments, and I'm probably gonna catch some flack for this. But if they bring me a bucket of and I find folded clean clothes in it,
Oh,
I'm not washing your laundry until you've worn all of it now. You're gonna have some interesting outfits this next few weeks, you know. And I don't ever let it get that far, but I do make a stand where I'm like, I'm not washing this. So, judge me or not, but that is my hack. I do buckets and I will only pick up a percentage of the responsibility for an entire house because I do laundry for 6+ people and medical stuff and all of that. So, my 17 loads a week is not,
mm-mm.
I spend about an hour a day doing laundry every
At
day.
I
least you
would.
give them the easy part, is like you put it away.
Yeah, just
My laundry
bring
from
it to
last
me and
weekend
take
is still in the dryer. So I'm
But
like, I
so here's the
wash,
thing.
I dry, I don't put away.
See,
Get it
I
out of
could have them fold it, but the reason I specifically gave them those 2 tasks is if it's not brought to me and put in front of me, I will forget that it exists. I won't think to go gather their laundry. So that's the ADHD part of it for me, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So
So
100%.
it
true.
has to be their responsibility to bring it to me to get done, or it's not gonna.
That's
The out of sight, out of
absolutely
mind
valid.
is so real.
So that's why it's an ADHD hack, because I know that if I don't get it this way and have the system, it'll never get done. So there you have it. There's my ADHD hack for the week.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I won't remember, but I'll ask you about it.
When you all start having kids, that's, you can come back and circle. I'll give you all the hacks by then. I've got a really other great one too. I keep Post-it notes, and I will walk through the house and note things that I see need to be done, and I'll just put a dollar amount on them. I'll put them up, and they'll ask me for stuff, and I'll say, go pick a chore, see how much it
Oh,
costs.
that's so smart. I love that.
There's
Can't wait till I have
and
little minions.
the problem is that they'll pick the chore, go half do the job. So you gotta make sure there's checks and balances.
The half
yeah.
of the job doing, that drives me nuts. Can we all just real quick, can we all agree that when you take the trash out, part of that job is to put a new bag in the trash?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Also, doing the dishes includes wiping down the fucking counters.
I was literally just about to say that.
If you're doing the dishes, you are cleaning the kitchen. It is not big. Just wipe it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if I go in there and my sleeves get wet, now we're fighting. Now we're all fighting.
I spent 30 minutes last night hard scrubbing my kitchen island and my countertops before I could make dinner in a kitchen that was just cleaned. So I'm about to put in a new rule that if I catch you making a meal and not cleaning up after that meal, you're not allowed to cook anything for however XYZ amount of days. You are going to have to ask somebody to help you that is going to clean up the mess. I don't care if it takes me more work for a while. I am so done with my sensory issues. I come down and put my hand on a counter that is sticky or crunchy.
Disgusting. Same.
And they don't even notice it. Like, they are so blind. I'm going to post a picture of the front of my fridge right now.
Right on like the granite of the way that my countertops are and the way that the light comes into my house, like when the light hits just right, all you see is crumbs and Osiris hair. Just the floor, the everything. And then I just need to wait like 30 minutes for the light to go away, or I just like can't be in that room during that time. Like, unless I have the energy to do something about that and clean everything, like I just have to, I'm just like, I'm gonna come back and
I just can't
when the lights down, because I just can't. Like, just can't.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, so that's my my ADHD, I guess, 2 hacks for the week. Ways that I've helped ensure that shit gets done in my house with this many humans. So,
The Post-it note hack, I heard you talk about that like a couple years ago on like a different call, and I was like, damn, I gotta note that for when one day when I have kids.
so they have their chores. So their responsibilities are bringing me their laundry, keeping their rooms tidy-ish to the level that's not gross. That's like, I let them be their little ADHD autistic selves. Like, we all have our own systems, but it can't be gross. Nothing gross. And then they each have a chore, or like a chore and a half, where they like have their chore and a chore they split with a sibling. And that's it. They don't get paid for any of that. That is their responsibility for being a part of this household. And then they can make money by picking up extra activity or extra work. But yeah, that's what I suggest to the moms out there, that don't pay them for everything.
What's your highest paid chore?
Wall scrubbing is pretty high. I'll pay $20 a room for that, because you'd be shocked at like pretty much everything from like shoulder to like hip level in my house. Every 2 weeks will just be sticky handprints. And I don't even understand. I don't understand where it comes from. Some of it, like all of my doors, every week the doors from like the top lock to right underneath the handle are just black. And it's the door and the door frame from them. Yeah. It's so that yeah. So that one, cleaning baseboards, but that only gets done like once every 6 months probably. But I pay pretty high for that. It's a $50 chore, but you have to do half the house. It's either upstairs or downstairs. Um, yeah, those are my bigger ones, like where they have to like actually like get down and scrub things that are physically difficult for me as a 40-year-old woman. I'm gonna pay them a decent amount to do. But like I've had $120 paychecks before where they have something in mind that they want, and it is like, you know, Landon sometimes, because he's home from college right now, he will go through and do like a full tidy up and clean of the downstairs cabinets and countertops and sweep and mop and all of that. And I'll pay him what I would pay the house cleaners to come and do it. It's
Okay.
not quite as thorough, but like I will, but he's also a 19-year-old that is down there working, So I think I keep it pretty fair.
He's
Yeah,
a
that
good
sounds
kid.
that sounds super fair.
Yeah.
I
So
like that a
some
lot.
hacks for the parents out there. Um, I've got a few I really want to do. We'll do an episode on that at some point. Parenting and protecting your sanity, all in one. So, my topic for the week. I wanted to do something kind of fun that could also shed a little bit of light. So, we're gonna do some for those of you that are in our age group. I'm sure you watch the show Mythbusters.
Yeah, Mythbusters.
Yeah. So, I pulled up some myths that are common for neurodivergence that I thought we could spend some time busting together. So, myth number one: everyone's a little autistic or ADHD.
Thank you. I'm so glad you just said that.
Yeah, that's a big one for me because let's bust it for a second, right? That's like saying everyone's a little diabetic.
Yeah.
Like, no, being forgetful or distracted sometimes does not equal living with executive dysfunction daily.
Yeah.
Like it's more than just quirky. It's neurological. It's a different wiring system. That is like saying you should be able to run the 1996 Oregon Trail on my 2025 MSI Ninja.
What is that?
No, it's my laptop. That's like saying you should be able to run software from 96 on a 2025 high-end computing laptop, is my point. Like it's not even the same programming. It's not the same code.
Yeah.
Not
And
me
like we don't
immediately
have
asking ChatGPT if there has been a re-release of Oregon Trail
we
because
don't get haters on our page very often, but when we do, it's always like, oh God, are we still talking about ADHD? I'm like, yeah, it's my fucking brain. Yeah, we're still talking about it. It's a struggle
Because they're still
every
dealing with
single
it.
day. Yeah, I don't get to walk away from this.
Right.
So, yes, I'm so glad that we're busting that myth.
Yes, because let's please not do that. Yes, there are traits. There are traits that can go from, neurotypical to neurodivergence. Sure. But yeah, let's not cheapen it, please, because it's a daily for us. Whether we've been diagnosed and know what we're dealing with or not, it is a daily.
Yeah.
Myth number two, and this one hits me close to home, is autistic people don't have empathy and are just way too blunt and hurtful. And I want to talk about that for a minute.
I'm glad that you are, because that is a myth that I used to, not that I'd be like, oh God, autistic people just don't care about people, but I didn't know that people with autism like felt things deeply. I didn't know that before. I know that now, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is part of it. We don't have the ability to feel inauthentic things. And that's why people think that we don't have empathy, because people will come with very, like, at least from my position and the way that I've experienced it, people will come with a lot of sob stories and victim mentality, or like not seeing their flaws in the situation that they're telling you about, etc. And I have a hard time empathizing with people when I feel like they're wrong,
Yeah.
or when I feel like their feelings aren't authentic. Also, when I feel like they're like winding up a story, and we can always tell. And that, I think, it's misrepresented as not being empathetic. We also have, a lot of us, a delayed emotional reaction. So I can have people like kind of trauma dump on me and appear cold in how I like react to it. A lot of that is that I have not processed the information that you have given me yet. The moment I do, I process it, at least personally, from your point of view, where I feel everything that you would feel in those moments. And so I think there's a disconnect in the expected timing and the types of answers that are expected. There's also this interesting thing that I've noticed recently, because it's been happening to me. So, and this is kind of where the brutal honesty, or the being too harsh or too blunt comes into play, and how we're mean, how autistic people can be very mean or cold. So, if I'm in an argument with somebody and I say something like as a defense mechanism or to make a point or whatever, and it is to the point and it is factual and it is harsh, I will get the response of, oh my God, that was mean, right? But if somebody does that to me in the same, like if a neurotypical person does that to me in the same exact set of situations, the response that I get is, oh, well, they didn't really mean it like that. So because I mean the things that I say and I'm being factual, that is worse. That is worse than being equally cruel but not meaning it. And so that is an equality that I think it's set up to make it look like, we are being brutal, but really we're just being honest. And sure, some truths don't need to be said, but there is so much forgiveness for a neurotypical person in saying things in the heat of the moment that does not exist for autistic people. It just does
True.
not. So, because it can never be that I didn't mean it. Shouldn't mean it like that. It's never that. Because what I say is factual, and that's the problem, is it cuts too deep. And because we don't get overly emotional when we are retorting in these things, when we're being cold, because that's what it is we're actually exhibiting way more emotional control than you are, but it's coming across as being emotionless. But when we deliver these things that cut deep, it's usually in a very cool, calm, collected manner. And like, no, this is the facts of the things, and it makes you feel bad about yourself. You're angry at me. You're not angry at the fact that I'm saying something factual and you feel bad about it, and it's something that you haven't fixed in yourself. Like, it's just such a weird mirrored projection that it does not leave a safe space for us to actually be emotional in those moments, which gets us described as being emotionless.
Mm. Having having difficult, like conversations, it can be really uncomfortable, I think, for people. And honesty, I think, is also very much a struggle for people when it comes to, I'm about to tell this person something that they probably don't want to hear.
Yeah, so myth busted on that one, y'all. For those of you that are autistic and have been accused of that, drop your experiences in the comments too, because I'm curious, because I've had a lot of this lately, and I think I'm leaving a people-pleasing era. And there have been moments where I'm like, is it just me? Am I being too harsh? But I go back and look at it, and it's like, I'm just being honest, and that person did not want to hear what I had to say. So, yeah. Myth number 4. It's just a childhood phase. We talk about that for a second. People don't grow out of ADHD, y'all.
Yep.
That is not something that is just in children. I have heard that so much lately that, this is something that you should be growing out of, though.
You don't grow out of it. You just develop systems that help you cope with it / hide it / whatever better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's already busted because people are not getting diagnosed until 35, 40, 60, 70. Literally, my mom was 65 when she was diagnosed. But that was the conversation in my house growing up because my dad has like major ADHD. And he was like, oh, I think I probably did when I was a kid, but I grew out of it. And I've all like, as an adult, I'm like, okay, buddy. That's why I can't see. He does not sit still. Now he checks all the boxes. I'm teaching him about it now. So anytime he portrays a characteristic of ADHD, I will just be like, hey, okay, so what you just did is called this, and it's because you have this. And he listens. So yeah, you don't grow out of ADHD.
No, it's lifelong wiring, y'all.
Kind of wish he did, but
Yeah. Myth number 5, they're either geniuses or helpless. So we need to kind of get away from the Rain Man stereotype. There is like when people talk about autistics, it's all very stereotyped. There's either the Rain Man, the high functioning, super intelligent, or there's the high support needs, nonverbal, lower function. I hate saying lower functioning because I feel like they have entire worlds going on, and so I don't feel like it's lower functioning. So I hate even using those words.
just a different area on the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just all agree that there are autistics that just like to like build Legos in their free time and have normal 9 to 5 jobs, and you would never know? Can we just agree that those exist, everybody? Like, it doesn't have to be, it's not the two sides of the spectrum, it is a full spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the you don't look neurodivergent is getting a little old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no look to it for any of the neurodivergent classifications. So yeah, those are some myths that I wanted to talk about. The last one is a hot button item, and we've actually received a little bit of hate for this on our channels, and we've talked about it a couple times, but they're just using it as an excuse or a crutch. Yeah. So there's actually a big conversation with the public schooling system here about how they want to pull back some of the support systems for the autistic and ADHD kids because of the spike in diagnoses, and they feel like it is a trending topic. And so I guess that's the myth that I want to bust, is whether or not neurodivergence is a trending topic, or we're just getting more often diagnosed because of more access and education.
I mean, I think it's the latter. I will say, I don't think it is unlikely that there isn't a doctor or few in the US who habitually diagnoses ADHD and doesn't look deeper, or it's just been like, oh, they're hyper, oh, they do this, oh, they do this, here, have them take that once a day, see you later, so do I think that there's definitely that going on? Yeah, for sure. But I do think that the rapid access we have to information and it being talked about more, I do think that people are going in and seeing if their kid has this or
Yeah.
So.
I think there's a lot more self-diagnosed. I mean, let's talk about how I got diagnosed real quick. Very simple. I started seeing reels where I was like, wait a minute, is that me? That can't be me. And somebody had asked me like a year prior if I was autistic, and I was so fucking offended when she asked. I was like, absolutely not. What are you? I was so offended, and I'm embarrassed about that now, but I was so offended. And then over the next like 6 months, I started seeing reels that are like, ha 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 ha, ha, is this you? And I'm like, wait, that looks like me. And then they're like, surprise, you're autistic. And I was like, wait a minute. No. And so then I started bringing things up to my therapist. I was texting her reels at the time, and I was like, yo, I'm feeling a little called out over here. Maybe we should talk about this. sure enough, that's what started my entire diagnosis thing. So every time people say that it's just a trending topic, I'm like, yeah, it is. It's trending all over TikTok. It's the reason I got diagnosed.
You,
So I'm borderline on both of those. I think it is trending, but I think it's also leading us to the ability to actually go and get ourselves help and learn systems. Half the systems I'm using right now, I've learned from TikTok. So
oh yeah.
I I think it's both, and I'm kind of glad that it is,
It's kind of
personally.
annoying too when like people have they're like, "Oh, what did you get that from TikTok?" And I'm like, "So what if I did? There are doctors and scientists and psychologists and therapists on TikTok. It is the
All
new
over it.
way that we get information, you guys. Sorry I didn't open a scroll at the library. Like that's how we get information now." So, anyway,
That's where it
suck it.
starts, at least where it starts, it'll point you in the
Yeah,
right direction. Because I know you definitely, and I definitely, and Brittany definitely will take little things that they see and then go research.
yeah.
Um, you know, Schumann resonance and all.
I like thick books, and I cannot
Yes.
lie.
Yes. So there is one other myth, and we're not going to talk about it today because I don't know if it's a myth. There's actual things coming out about it now. But I have an opinion on it, and I kind of want to have other people throw some opinions in before we have a conversation about it. But immunizations causing autism.
I thought that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah. I would like to know what the general consensus is out there. I have a theory about biological markers that is difficult to find scientific backing for, but it just makes sense to me. The entire synaptic pruning thing, I don't
What
feel like
y'all
you can.
talk about that all the time. What is that?
Okay, so your brain is full of synapses. Synapses are the thing that basically interchange the electrical functions in your brain to intake. They literally do everything in your brain, but the biggest part is they intake information and then disperse it, right?
Okay.
So autistic people, sorry, neurotypical people or allistic brains, non-autistic people lose about 40% of those synapses over their first few months of life. It's like a massive drop once you're born with the brain development, right? And so the here's the issue that I'm having with this. I believe that it is probably very likely that there are immunizations out there that are causing autistic type symptoms.
Okay.
I absolutely believe that that is true. Um, what I don't think is happening is I don't think that immunizations are causing synapses to regrow in the brain. So, one of the major biological markers of being autistic is that you have retained 40% more synapses in your brain than a non autistic person, right? And so, if you're saying that an immunization can do that, then I would agree that immunizations could cause autism. There is nothing that I can find anywhere stating that any of these mRNAs, any of that would be chemically capable of doing that. So I think what's happening is I think that there needs to be a rename of this injury that's happening from these immunizations. I think it needs to be retitled something else. However, I could be completely wrong on that because it's a theory and it's hard to find scientific backing on it. Um, and if they're solely talking about the immunizations that you get in your first few months of life, then maybe. But some of the things that I'm reading that are actually coming out with RFK right now, where there's data showing that this is likely, um, I don't agree that it is in any way possible for the shots that came out in the few recent years. I don't want to say exactly what they are, but you guys all know the immuno shots that came out about 5 years ago that were a big political thing, the shot. They're saying that that is capable of causing that, and in people that are post the age of synaptic pruning.
Oh,
So
really? I haven't really heard that much about it. I've heard more about like clotting disorders and like cardiovascular issues, things like that. I haven't heard anything about like that shot specifically as it relates to autism.
specifically, so the thing that I was reading the other day was this specific case of this child that's over the age of 7.
Mhm.
And all synaptic pruning happens in the first, like, believe it's year or 18 months. And so if they're talking about the pre-18-month immunizations doing that, maybe, because then they may stop synaptic pruning. So maybe.
Mhm.
But if they're talking about immunizations post those days causing autism, it does not chemically or biologically make sense to me how that could happen. And that could
Mhm.
just be my lack of understanding. But that
But I
is
don't
a
think it's your lack of understanding. We don't know. There is no, like, no
yeah.
one knows.
I mean, maybe it's my lack of understanding and what they're actually studying right now. I mean,
Mm, mm.
that's what I meant. But
I
yeah,
thought
so
that
that
the
is a
main
myth.
like culprit like with respect to studying the potential for certain vaccines like on the like like postnatal I guess schedule is like specifically due to the heavy metals in the vaccines.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know how that would um I don't know how that would cause what the biological markers of autism are. I don't know. I don't see how those two things are connected. I
Yeah.
don't know how heavy metals could cause the actual, like, biological structures of the brain to change, because we are biologically built different. It's not just chemical differences between an allistic and a autistic brain. There's actual physiological markers. So
I would love to see like actual clinical trials, you
yeah,
know, and it would be difficult to do, obviously, because you definitely need a larger sample size and you have to be able to compare, you know, your placebo versus non-placebo, essentially the people who have either a or the kids who either get less vaccines or on a delayed schedule compared to those that you know, get all
zero
the vaccines on what the typical, like the, what is it, standard recommended protocol is.
recommended
And
protocol.
then
Yeah.
you would have to just like, you'd have to measure all the markers
Yeah.
and do like continuous scans every, 3 to 6 months because your biology changes so quickly as
Yeah.
a child and as an adolescent, and your neurology as well.
Yeah. And then you have
Maybe,
to figure
maybe,
there's going to be
maybe
people
this,
in,
maybe these conversations will lead to those kinds of studies, and that's what I hope will
I'm
happen.
hoping. Yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to lead with I don't have a way to bust that myth. I only have a base theory on my understanding of it. But that is a myth that is they are people well above us are currently working on busting. So as time rolls on, we'll try to keep everybody updated on what that looks like, what it all means. It's an important one for me. So that actually wraps my little version of Mythbusters for the day. We are trying to shorten these a little bit each time we film so that we can keep you guys more engaged, because we all know that we are the divergent group and attention spans are a real thing. So thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Please share your thoughts on all of the things, any myths that you'd like to do in the future, because maybe 6 months from now we'll do another Mythbusters with some suggestions from y'all. Thank you so much. See y'all here shortly.